Hey, welcome to Genre Chat Podcast for SeriousWriter.com. I'm Caleb Walton, and as you can see, I am sitting here on the front porch of our resort at Hilton Head after many weeks of working pretty much non-stop at my new job. We finally got a break to go on a little family vacation and just enjoy the few warm days left in December. So it's a little cold, so I've got my hot apple cider sitting out here on the porch, and it is just amazing to kick back and relax and have some quiet time. And got me thinking the other day about writer's block. I'm doing my best to get a good portion of my manuscript finished by the end of December, and one of the things that I often struggle with is writer's block, especially when it comes to starting a chapter where I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen, but I pretty much have an idea of the direction the chapter is going to go. There's nothing like the intimidation of staring at a blank page and just wondering where to start. What are the first words that it should go? And I can't tell you how many times I've started a sentence 5, 6, 7 times and even gotten several hundred words into it and just had to start completely over and erase everything just because it wasn't there. It didn't have that extra engaging element that a good chapter needs. So one of the things that I've found interesting when I have writer's block is the pressure that you feel as the writer. So one thing I was going to go over is 3 steps to conquering writer's block fast. The main thing is the pressure that the writer feels. So the first step is just to take a deep breath and relax. You're not going to be able to write a good, compelling chapter in your book if you're stressing yourself out and if you feel all of that pressure to just make every word perfect. Remember that especially if it's your first draft, you will have plenty of time to go back and fix whatever mistakes that you make. And there's no rule saying that what you write has to go into your final manuscript. Now, of course, none of us want to spend, 10, 20, 30 minutes or an hour on a piece of our book that's not going to go in, but oftentimes that's the case. So don't necessarily put all that pressure on yourself that whatever you write is going to be seen by your readers. Second, I like to take a second to get into my character's skin. A really good tip that I've used is, first of all, to clear background music, I like to put on some sort of ambient noise. It could be a rainforest, it could be a train ride. There's a really good station on Pandora called Sleep and Relax ASMR, and it has a lot of soothing background noises. There's even one that's a little French cafe, and it just has these wonderful sounds of coffee being brewed and people chattering in the background and glasses being cleaned and put back on the shelf, and it's the most relaxing background noise for creativity. So put something like that on just to sort of get the back of your mind occupied so there's not all these distracting noises or even the silence around you that can be really deafening sometimes. And then put yourself in your character's skin. I always like to take a second to think about where my character is and what my character is doing in that moment of the scene. So it could be, I remember one time my main character Charlie was at a hospital. He was going to be having a very tense, emotionally packed conversation with his dad. And I had no idea how to start the chapter. I knew basically what needed to be said, but it was just a complete blank mind. So I started thinking about the last time I was at a hospital. And I said, well, why don't we put it in the rain? Because rain can be a very atmospheric element in a scene. And so I just pictured him sitting on a bench in front of the hospital, sounds of the rain, the smell of the wet concrete, a person smoking a cigarette, by the corner, by the door, and talking on their cell phone. Just general things that people experience when they're in a certain environment that they may not think about until you bring and tap into that memory. So just see where your character is in that scene, put them in a spot, and just give your character and your reader a moment to be immersed in that setting. Every element that your character will be experiencing, the smells, the sights, the sounds, the taste, if they're eating or if they're sipping a cup of coffee, what the other people are doing around them. And also you want to make sure that you include whatever emotional conflict your character is experiencing. A great way to start a chapter is to go over what your character is thinking or feeling. Are they scared? Are they sad? Are they just taking a moment to catch their breath? And how is that interacting with what's around them? So, for example, in this scene that in my novel, my manuscript, my character Charlie, I just had him sitting on the front bench outside of a hospital. He was closing his eyes, trying to gather his thoughts. He was very stressed out for the person that they were visiting at the hospital. And then I just captured all of the different sounds and sights around them. And then his father drove up in his pickup truck, interrupted the thoughts that he was having, and then they went into the dialogue of the scene. And that just really helped pull me out of that writer's block. So those are really good elements you can do. Another really good thing that you could try is just start typing a stream of consciousness. Everything that you know about what needs to happen in that story. It could be out of order, it could be completely backwards, inside out. Just get it all out on paper, and that way it's not all bottled up inside of your head. This is good also if you're having just a general trouble with your story in general. Just do a word vomit on the paper and just type every single thing you could think of. And once you get all that out of your system and see it in front of you, it's really easy to go back and clean it up and actually structure your story to see where the gaps are and where you need more content. So I hope this is helpful for the next time you have writer's block and struggle with it. Everyone does. Even best-selling authors have days where they feel like they cannot put a single word on the paper. So don't feel bad if it happens to you. But I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. I will see you next week with hopefully new content in this fantasy genre. And if you have any questions or comments, be sure to visit SeriousWriter.com. Bye-bye.